Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. We are here tonight doing one of something we used to do an awful lot of, which is an open topics, open lines show. You can call in using your voice telephone number. For those of you who have a cell phone or a landline, and the number to call into our show here is streaming at the bottom of the screen. I should note on a technical note that we are down a few distribution points tonight, and that would be two locations we usually stream to, which is my Facebook page and the Truthseekers Facebook page. I'm not even sure why, but apparently I'm in Facebook jail and I'm not allowed to post to Facebook for several days for something I posted 4.5 years ago. Apparently, something I posted 4.5 years ago was objectionable to to Mark Zuckerberg, and they removed the post. And I remember getting a message about that several days ago. But then yesterday, I got a message that I got a 3-day suspension or something for violating community guidelines or something. Great. So we are down. I'm gonna take that banner off the screen. We're gonna continue tonight. I considered just waiting until the suspension was over, but life has to go on. I don't know what the problem is, but it is what it is. These social media giants have far too much power because my business depends partially on Facebook and people seeing my work there. And somehow something that I posted several years ago is so objectionable. Who would find a 4-year-old post on Facebook? Is somebody really scrolling through 4 years of my posts on Facebook to find an objectionable? And by the way, somebody did report that post. So just very, very interesting. For those unaware, there is a link to join the show pinned into the Facebook live chat. I've put it in the Rumble chat and the Pill chat, and I'm going to go over to Twitch and see if we can't post it over there. Welcome. Oh, geez. Welcome, everyone who is listening everywhere, but not on Facebook tonight, apparently. I'm going to put this in the link to the Twitch chat. I forgot that earlier. Welcome, Twitch chatters. And I see Ganja73 is holding down an Archaic Revival, as usual, holding down the Twitch chat. Hold on there. We have our first call. One moment here.
Call from
Midwest.
To accept, press 1.
Hi, this is Steven, and you're live on Truthseekers. Who's this?
This is Midwest.
Oh, okay. Welcome, Midwest. What's on?
Thanks. My name is Steve. My screen name is Midwest.
Oh, okay.
Honored to speak. Yeah, honored to speak with you, man. I'll tell you, I can't stress how valuable your service is. Hopefully, it reaches more people. I was wrapped up in the woo-woo for a long time, man. It got so bad I was buying into the whole Billy Meyer thing. I dismissed the fishing line as those plates were swinging in the wind. I mean, I dismissed it all and started to do into it all,
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, and I should mention the first. I'm pretty sure that the first images of a typical flying saucer that I ever saw were in a book in my school library in grade school, and those were Billy Meyer photos. So
yeah,
they've been around a long time.
He does.
Yeah, they've been around a long time. I think they've been thoroughly debunked to most people's satisfaction that are rational. But isn't it interesting that guy's like 80 something and he's still doing the grift and he hasn't had a job all this time? He has like a cult over there. It's been called the sex cult because of the shenanigans that goes on over there.
Is that right? I just kind of pulled the plug on the whole thing. For a little while there was there was some guy that was promoting him for a little while there. You actually had him on the show. I'm not familiar with all the names and whatnot like that.
Yeah,
but,
Mikey Horn. Yeah. the spokesperson. That's their media spokesperson who yells and screams at people. So very professional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read some of his briefly. I didn't read too much, but because it was so redundant. Even he's still publishing stuff, and it was just redundant. It was just I don't even know what category to put it into, but he just kept going over the same thing. I find it extremely difficult to believe that he's the mouthpiece for the alien species, and it's just I mean, it's just so obvious. This is just way off the wall stuff, man. But I want to believe so bad, man. I'm one of these guys that just stare at the Kevlar balloon, at 10,000 feet, just amazed. But I mean, I'm not fortunate enough to see a UFO. I keep my eyes to the sky, man. Nothing yet, though. Nothing yet. But,
yeah, I mean, I have a cabin in the mountains, and I see strange things in the sky all the time. But I just don't jump straight to aliens. Usually. I've seen an awful lot of satellites that looked really weird, but you're at such a high elevation. It's not something that you usually see is these satellites flying overhead. So, I think most people, when they see something they can't explain, one of the first things they think is aliens. Like people just equate the word UFOs with aliens instantly. It's a big jump,
Have you seen a satellite in the daytime? That can be quite spectacular. I mean, just the reflection of the sun on it is so intense. But it's moving in a straight line. It's got a consistent rate of speed. It's at extremely high elevation, and it can be intensely bright at times. But I mean, that kind of even alludes to the fact that it's a satellite. It tumbles, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be. It refracts the sunlight and stuff like that. But it's the excitement of it all when you initially establish eye contact with something like that can be quite overwhelming. But then, your rational thought process kicks in, and you start to kind of navigate through all of that and slowly come back down from whatever it may be. I wanted to ask you ever hear about this? This is some time back. I think it was an article or something like that. This guy that had actually sponsored some kind of event. I think it was in the desert or somewhere in California. We would have night vision goggles, and he would say that the aliens were having space wars. And you could see these space wars with his night vision goggles. He was actually, having, gatherings and stuff like that. But you had to pay the guy, to participate in this kind of thing. So, low-hanging fruit for him,
Yeah, I have had an opportunity to look at a night sky with night vision, and you do see all kinds of strange stuff. I can't explain some of that stuff, but I think I recall that guy, and he was like charging people money to go out in the desert and like look through his night vision goggles at things, which is a little scammy, right? I mean, if you're really seeing like alien spaceships, wouldn't you want to do more than like cash in on it? Like, oh, there's an alien space battle going on. I'll sell tickets to it. It's a little bit strange to me.
It's just everybody's got to. Not everybody, but Stephen Greer is. Oh my God, man, that guy is the worst, man. That guy is the worst. I watched the first. Disclosure 1, Disclosure 2, Countdown to Disclosure, this, that, these, and those, and really bought into that woo-woo. But
lately he's saying that he's gonna be leading a strike force to go into these places and take back control of the alien technology. Like it's turned into an action movie now. He's gonna go in there with special forces or something. It's just he's absolutely ridiculous, and I kind of like feel bad for anybody that get too deep in that rabbit hole. Like if you believe that guy, you really will believe anything. But the problem is that people have short memories. They don't remember that he said the government offered him $2 billion to stop talking about the aliens and stuff. They don't remember that he ran all these different, let's just call them fundraisers. He's always collecting $500,000 at a shot. It must be nice, And now he's building a cult.
Right.
He's building a literal cult compound where people can go and do this CE5 and talk to the aliens, you know, for big bucks with him at like some kind of ranch or something. It's really bizarre. He's starting his own cult.
I wonder what are the qualifying questions, like when people say, "Oh, I want to interview Stephen Greer." It's like, well, you know, how much ass are you really willing to kiss of his, you know, before we authorize this interview? Because it's the same thing in every interview. He does these filibusters. You can't get a question in edgewise. I mean,
yeah, and he has these same talking points that he uses in every interview. Like he can talk for an hour and say nothing really. You know, and he briefed every U.S. president. He said since Ronald Reagan, but we checked with all of the different presidents, and nobody's ever heard of them. You know, and there's no explanation for that. But then he does sort of explain it with Trump and Pence, because we caught him red-handed saying that he briefed President Trump and Vice President Pence. I happen to have contact information for their media people from a previous project. So I reached out and they said, no, both of them, both the media representatives from Vice President Pence and from President Trump, both said that they never requested or got any briefing from a Dr. Stephen Greer ever. So then he started saying, oh, well, he sent in a briefing for them. You know, like he mailed a letter to the White House with like stuff about aliens. That somehow entitles him to the right to say he briefed the president. No, it doesn't. You know, right. It's so ridiculous, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's so fortunate to talk to the many people that have been compromised. You know, they're no longer with us, but he was fortunate enough to talk to them just before, you know, they passed. You know what I mean? That's convenient.
Yeah, using a dead source is also convenient, right? Using a dead source is convenient because nobody can ask the dead person if they said that. He uses dead people all the time. He says like, "Oh, this dead general told me this." It's like he must just like look for dead military people that were high ranking and then take a note of their name, and then he uses that. And this is just my opinion, but I think he uses that, you know. Oh, we've got another caller, Steve.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
I said we've got another caller. So I was going to go to the other caller.
Brother, man, I appreciate you, man.
All right. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate you. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right. 1 second.
Call from
Ryan Gable.
Oh, look at that. Hey, Mr. Ron Gable. How you doing?
Hey, good, Stephen. How are you?
Excellent. Except I'm in Facebook jail. So I think you sent me a message and then I couldn't reply. And by the way, just so everybody knows, don't send me any Facebook messages for a couple of days until I'm able to actually, reply to you. I don't want people thinking I'm being rude. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just unable to communicate there for something I posted 4 years ago, apparently.
I'm also in Facebook jail, so we're definitely cellmates.
So how's it going? What are you up to?
Well, I called because I wanted to see if you had by any chance heard last night's Ground Zero that I hosted.
No, I did not. But if you could send me a link through email, it's truthseekershow@gmail.com. I'll definitely check it out. What are you guys talking about?
Well, I hosted it myself because Clyde was out, and I did a show called Alien Egregore. And fairy legends and how that relates to UFO abductions, like the DMT, ayahuasca stuff.
And I saw the egregore post, and I completely agree with you. It's just become a form of modern mythology, Yeah, and the reason I called you is because you guys were just talking about Greer, and I've hosted Ground Zero probably like 7 times now, and I got some nasty calls last night, Stephen. I had a Stephen Greer caller. And this woman was so mad that I want clips. Oh, and by the way, why do you keep getting that gig instead of me, you prick? Like, Yeah, for those unaware, Clyde Lewis, you know, he's going through some stuff, so he's doing some things, and Ryan got the gig to fill in for him, and that was my gig, I thought, but it is what it is. Yeah, somebody, it was Ron Patton actually messaged me and said, you should call in, and I was live on my own show at the time, so, and I didn't really get the message, so, or I would have. And didn't you have Ryder Lee with you or something, right?
Yeah, Ryder was on the show as my guest in the second half of the show. Yeah, but you said Ron messaged you to call in.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, they're talking about this. You should call in," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, I'm doing a show," and ordinarily I would, just so you know, Ryan, like if you have something going on, I don't care if I'm live. I'll call in and we'll connect the dots between the two shows. Right. But I was in the middle of this presentation with slides and everything, you know, like I really couldn't stop the show and do that. So I apologize.
Well, listen, I didn't use your name, but when the career lady called in, she said, "Now Ryan, said there's no proof," and I said, "Well, no, I didn't say there was no proof. I'm not even talking about Stephen Greer." But she says, "No, he has the proof." I said, "What, man? What proof does he have?" He's got the documents and he's got the whistleblowers. And I said, "Have you read the documents or talked to the whistleblowers?" Silence. They don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, and by the way, I am happy that you got that gig. If not me, then at least you got it. Because, you know, but I did say, like, you know, if he's going to be out for a while, like, I'm sure, you know, Ryan can step aside. I'll stab you right in the back, bro. I love you, but I'll take that gig right from you.
Hey,
you know.
Hey, if you
he's got a big bullhorn, and I want it.
That might actually help your career. You might be talking at a conference or something. Start stabbing people in the back. How you do it, man? Did
you know that I have an open pass to Conscious Life Expo, the next one?
Yeah, how the hell did you manage that? Because every time I call, I get
I got a full boat pass and press credentials and everything. But they did have one request. They asked me, whatever you say while you're here, whatever you do, like, just be respectful of the guests. And I thought, well, yeah, I'll be respectful of the guests, but I'm not going to be respectful of some of these wackadoos that you got on the stage. You didn't ask me to do that. So I'm considering going, but you know how difficult travel is for me to sort of get a week, you know, and I'm going to try to pass that off my wife. Like, hey, I got to go to Los Angeles for a week, you know, that's going to go over great, you know.
If I get a press pass, you should come to this, I think it's Stairway to the Heavens at the Luxor in Vegas, mid-November. So that's the big one. It's like a Billy Carson production. All the names are there.
Oh boy. Yeah. And you know, I don't know if you're aware of this, but like the you know, I am considering just deleting or privating a whole bunch of messages, because I'll talk to you off air about it, but there's one person in particular that is making direct legal threats against me and all this, you know, it's just, it gets to the point of ridiculousness with some of these guys. They, you know, because people aren't aware of this, but you know this, Ryan, even if it's something frivolous, you know, like a nonsense case, it's still going to cost you tons of money to do something about it. Yep. You know, so
it's a tactic too. They file these lawsuits against you to run you down and drain your bank account.
Well, you know, that's one issue too, is that some of these people don't realize they have to sue my company, and my company that produces this show has about $40 in the bank. So I feel like, you know, if you need the $40 more than me, bro, like, come on, bring it, you know. But I don't want to invite that kind of nightmare into my life, because, you know, it's a nightmare to deal with that stuff.
Well, you know, I might have gotten that gig that you want, but did you get a cease and desist letter from Corey Good? Because I wanted one of those. I didn't get one of those. Yeah, well, I got that, and then I got additional. He's making additional threats on social media right now. And in one, it was directed directly at me, and another one, it was just in general. Oh, I'm filing new lawsuits and all this stuff. So, you know, what a light warrior, man.
Yeah, yeah, love and light and litigation, right?
That's right, love, light, litigation.
Yeah, but I got some more callers on the line here, so we should come on the show and just do a whole show here or catch up, or we'll do that thing where we just have a talk off air and we can both use it. Why don't we do that?
Yeah, let's do that. Just contact me and let me know. Let's get it done.
All right, absolutely. Ryan Gable of the Secret Teachings. We're sharing your links in the description,
Thank you.
And in our live chat. Buy some of his swag. You'll be glad you did.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Ryan. All right, bye-bye. All right, and we have some StreamYard callers. For those unaware, you can call in via voice, or you can call in via StreamYard with your webcam and your microphone. And boy, this is absolutely proof that we will let anybody on this show, and I do mean anybody. Next up, we have bottled water.
Oh.
Really will let anybody on this show.
Anybody.
Even
absolutely you. Anybody. What is the world coming to?
How you doing? How's things over there at Toady Waba? I haven't caught up lately.
Well, that's kind of on a hiatus right now. Everybody's really busy, and Bree's doing her thing, and Jamie's doing hers, and Kari's doing her thing, and I'm doing my thing. So everybody's just kind of spread out right now.
Okay,
but we'll get back to it.
What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I've been watching your show now pretty much every night that you're on for the last probably like month or so, and I want to say, the way that people get not so much like blacklisted, but the way that they get shadow banned or their content demonetized because they might say the wrong thing or criticize the wrong people. And you have, for instance, the UFO doxing club that we're all very well aware of, who lives in that little circle of people.
Oh, it's so toxic.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, and I really do think that there's a thumb on the scale sometimes, because it seems like some of these big media pushes that I suppose, if you want to get conspiratorial, some 3-letter agency once put out, when you go against that narrative and you pick it apart, suddenly your videos are getting demonetized or removed, or it's really troubling to me. And we've had 3 in the past, and the last 3 videos, they're demonetized. And then I go to YouTube and they say, oh, well, it could take 7 days for the review. And well, that's the problem. I do a live stream, so by the time a week passes, any views I would have gotten are gone, and now I lost all the ad revenue. But I try to remind myself that like I'm not. If I was here for the money, I would be doing hoaxes and scams like everybody else, because I'd be great at that shit. Once in a while, the plurality of worlds theory, right? And it's big in comic books right now. This alternate universe, somewhere in the multiverse, there is an evil Steve Cambion, and he is richer than Stephen Greer because he used his magic and illusion skills to create incredible hoaxes and made millions of dollars instead of doing this. There was a fork in the road,
Oh yeah. There's that reality where we're both millionaires and we're just hanging out and doing a live show every five nights a week, and we're having all the biggest names on there.
Well, the game. You gotta keep your mouth shut in order to get the access. But one thing I've noticed, like this, I didn't know this. Somebody sent me this stuff. Jimmy Church, when he does a show by himself, his views are worse than mine. The only reason that he gets big views is it's guest driven. Like, he has to sit there and pretend his guest isn't a grifter, and then he gets the views. But when he's just doing a show by himself, nobody cares what he has to say. Most of my shows, well, I'd say, probably 70% lately of my shows are solo. So if you put me mano a mano with him without the grifter guests, I'm killing him, and I feel good about that.
Right.
Forget that guy. He's got a 20-year head start on me,
Well, you know, a certain former co-host of his now has like 50,000 viewers and
I
over
know.
5 million
We just
views.
ripped her apart for she's co-signing that mummy hoax.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and
Saw
she
that.
made a couple of $1,000 just doing the mummy hoax shuffle. It might be
Mhm.
real. They may be
Is it
real.
real? Is it
Is it
real?
real or not? Yeah, she knows it's fake. It's so ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, you know, I spend a lot of time on Twitter looking at how people get followers and how they get the views and everything on their tweets. And there's like the keywords and stuff that you can say certain people in the government or celebrities or whatever. But you see every time a new hoax comes out or every time a new story comes out in the UFO world, it's like 5 people that just push it so hard that it's
Yeah.
insane. They retweet themselves, and it's like, come on, man.
Well, I can't lie. I like when new hoaxes come out that everybody's talking about
It
because
is funny.
when they're done, but when they're done hearing the fairy tales and they want to really know what's going on with this thing, they come here. And I'm
Yeah.
proud of that. Like, and so we get a little spike up too, but it's nothing like the Griff Squad side of things, you know.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. Oh, when the F-35 went missing the other day, everyone, oh, did it get eaten by a UFO? Like, come on.
yeah. Oh no, directed energy weapons took it down by the gray aliens or the reptilian aliens. I heard all kinds of
Right.
crap. I don't even know what happened with that, but boy, it would suck to be that pilot because if you screwed up and just smoked a $35 million airplane or how I don't even know how much
$80 million.
$80 million airplane.
Million.
Oops,
Yeah.
oops, your career is over. They're never going to let him fly an airplane like that again. Ever.
Oh no, he's done.
Yeah,
they're done.
well, that's sad for him. It could have been some kind of weird error, and he made a mistake or.
Yeah, I mean the official story is the pilot ejected and the autopilot was on and it flew for like a little bit while longer and crashed into a field in some woods and like, come on. The government lost an $80 million stealth fighter.
That's quite a chunk of change, yeah.
They also have secret UFO programs that we don't know about.
Of course they do.
Of course,
and I love the crash retrieval thing because people are like, "Oh, the government, they have crash retrieval Yeah, they've had crash retrieval programs since crashes existed. And before there was airplanes, they would go recover ships that went down or try to. Like, this is nothing new. But I think there's a big jump from they're picking up Soviet spy satellites that came crashing down, deorbited or whatever, and survived reentry to, it's aliens. It's a big jump.
Yeah.
It's a big jump to make.
Absolutely. You got to love it, though. You got to.
Well, we got a bunch of other callers all of a sudden, so I'm going to throw you out of here.
All right, man.
But don't be a stranger. You come back and do a whole show, but we have to pick a topic that we both like or something.
Will do. Definitely.
All right. Think of something. Message me. You're on break, right, so you're not doing anything. You can.
Not really.
All right. Thanks, Bottled Water. You have a good evening. All right. And next up, we have somebody I'm not familiar with. We're going to bring him up next here. Somebody named Bane Bear. Welcome, Bane Bear. You're on Truthseekers. Welcome.
How are you?
Good to see you. You got a friend with you there, huh?
Yeah, she's an attention whore. She's just a big naked black bitch that walks around my house just seeking attention, just constantly.
That sounds a lot dirtier. It's going to sound a lot dirtier for the audio podcast listeners that don't see the dog.
Sorry. I should have mentioned. Yeah, I have.
No, what is that? A black lab? Is that a black lab?
It's half black lab, half meth lab. It's always so hyper. It's just one of those things. And she knows whenever I'm about to hop on somebody's stream, she's like, I think I'm going to sit right here in front.
Yeah, I got a dog. It's really my wife's dog. It was just, we got this little tiny thing. It's not, I don't think that little tiny dogs should be called dogs. They ought to invent another word for them because they're just little annoying yappers. They're not like a dog, you know?
They're like in the case of
That was a
Rodentia.
dog. Yeah. I mean, I had a Rottweiler. That was a dog, right?
Yes.
She tells me things like, why don't you walk the dog? I'm like, I don't want to walk that thing around the neighborhood. People are going to think that I'm a little fruity, you know?
Can I ask? You said pick any topic. Can I ask you? Can I change subjects from the UFO?
Oh
stuff
yeah, whatever you want. We're open topics, open whatever.
Well, first off, with the fighter jet, maybe Oprah stole it when she was doing the fundraiser for the Maui fires. She's like, I could use
yes.
35, fighter jet to protect all my properties while all these other fires are happening. But
yeah, there's something fishy going on with that because every place that burned was like I don't know about every place, but many of those properties that burned were natives that refused to sell their land for many years to some of these rich people that are trying to buy up all that, very attractive real estate. Suddenly there's a huge fire, but none of the rich people's houses got a fire. Like, explain this one to me, like all the rich people's houses are fine, all the actors. And by the way, there's more than Oprah. There's like Tom Cruise and, Forrest Gump actor. His name escapes me.
Hanks.
Tom Hanks has a house there. All these people had houses there, and all the rich people, rich and famous people, none of the houses burned, just the poor people.
Well, then that one woman got up and said, she's like, we got no warning and we had no water. It's like, but somehow all these rich people had private, like, sprinkler systems on the outside of their houses and lawn sprinklers that could put out fires. I don't know.
Yeah, and then some of them hired private security to keep those people out of their place, and some of those people were just going to the nearby houses asking for things like drinking water. You know. And they were met with like armed guards. It's like, really? You can't let them use the hose?
Yep. Hey, listen, real quick. I'll hop off here in a second, but I'm curious. What is your opinion on Oliver Anthony, like the rich men north of Richmond? I think he's faker than politician promises and spray tan. He is not a hick. He is not one of the good old boys like us.
No, you don't think so? He strikes me as being genuine, but I'm not aware. But I will say this. I don't like country music at all, and I'm not even I don't really like his songs specifically too, right? But I have to give it to him. Like, I'm a songwriter myself, so the fact that he just wrote a song and stood there in his yard and sang it and it went viral, it's a little suspicious to me. But if he did it,
the thing. Let's lay out the actual facts of what's suspicious. It is professional videography, like cinematography, like out of this world, of him doing it in his yard with a microphone and there's no background noise and he's got 3 dogs running around. His uncle is a lawyer out of Atlanta that does things for celebrities that are like songwriters and Beyonce and stuff like that. He did stuff.
This is all stuff I didn't know. I just know the surface story.
Listen, his uncle did lawyer stuff of intellectual property for Joe Rogan. He came out with the song August 8th, August 16th. Ben Shapiro pushes it. And then all of a sudden, it's everywhere. He had to cancel a show the other day because he wanted $120,000 for 1 hour. That's $2,000 a minute.
Wow. Yeah. The best that I ever did was I was doing magic shows, and I would get $1,000 to do a 10-minute guest spot.
Wow.
But it was an act that I worked on for 2 years. It was worth the money. But I remember thinking, when I was doing it, it was so nerve-wracking because if you're getting that much money, you better be goddamn good. So imagine thousands per minute. Like, I was just like, wow, $100 a minute. That's great money, Yeah.
Well, that's one of those things that kind of makes it nerve-wracking. Like, I do stand-up comedy, and it's fun for me because it's free. If you ever read my bio on YouTube, I'm not monetized. I would never ask for money. I'm digitally Amish. Like, I'm a Facebook virgin. Never been stuck.
Well, hey, if you have good clips, you should send them to me because we do a musical guest, and I would love to have somebody that's doing stand-up. Like, just record your sets and send them to me, and I can edit them up and put them in some places, for breaks. Okay. I would love to do that.
We'll see what we can do, but I am digitally Amish. Listen, my battery's about to die. I'm going to let you go so you can take other callers. All right, bro?
All right. Thanks, Bane Bear. Nice to see you. First time caller. Thanks, Bane Bear. All right, now we have let's see, we have Mr. Ian, and after Mr. Ian, we have new guy waiting in the wings. Let's go to Mr. Ian. What the hell are you doing, dude? What is this?
I got back up.
All right, and while you're here, I want to thank Mr. Ian because I've been trying to get this Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows conspiracy video done. And I had some general ideas of what we should do, but he sent me the seed of it, and I tacked onto it and added some things, and we're going to debut that, and it's either tomorrow or the next day. It depends on how long Facebook takes to do the review. And then I also found out, Mr. Ian, I don't know that you can put any images of mutilated cows, or they might flag it as like disturbing content or so I might have to go back over it, but I'm going to send you the finished video. It's like 20 minutes. And you only sent me like 1 minute and 30 seconds. So
2 minutes 42, I think it was.
Yeah, but after I cut
you stretched it out that much. You put in bits with the. You've put in.
Mr. Ian was responsible for one whistleblower that's coming forward to say Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows with a shovel, or paid me to kill cows with a shovel. I found 2 more whistleblowers, Mr. Ian, and I put them in. So we're going to have 3 whistleblowers all saying that Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows, or she paid people to kill those cows to sell fake alien stories. You heard it here first.
I thought I'd call in from Truthseekers AI Central, you see, to let you know that we've managed to somehow catch. We've got a plane back here. It's got F-35 written on the back of it. You're missing the plane.
They found that. No, they found that. Yeah. Yeah, Patty needs a Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows t-shirt. Yeah.
Okay, look, right. So this week, the aliens that have been analyzed. Okay. Do we know that they're really old?
I believe, if you trust the hoaxers, that there was carbon dating that said they were 1,000 or more years old.
Okay, so if there are
but
1,000
I don't
years,
really trust the scientific evaluations of the hoaxers. After all, one of the doctors that Jaime Maussan is pushing, that's saying, oh, they're definitely not glued together, and all these other things. He was also the doctor that looked at those Roswell slides and declared that it could not be human. The very same doctor.
It's got the metal, like a double-ended spoon thing inside its chest.
Yeah, well, that's to bind the bones together, probably. Yeah.
Well, quite probably, but what are the eggs in its stomach? So I would suggest that if this thing is very old, I don't think that they had aliens and UFOs back then. That's kind of been the 20th century
thing. It has to be a Nephilim or a
fertility
demon hybrid, yeah.
or a fertility talisman.
Oh yeah, I never heard that one before. Why don't you haters get a little more original, right? Like, is that the best thing that you got, is to go after my appearance? Oh no, you said I look like some guy from a movie. You're really upsetting me. Yeah, and you're done, pal. See you later. Bye, loser. Go watch Grandma's Boy, you dumb dickhead. All right, we can move on now. There's just, once in a while there's a troll in the chat, and I used to let him go. I don't let him go anymore. Like, they better get better insults, right? If they get better insults, I would respect them,
Certainly. So look, so far the disclosure thing from Grush has just been more nothing burger.
Well, I don't know if you saw this, but John from the Black Vault did a video today, and he just destroyed everybody that's lying and saying he can't talk specifics because it's classified. And John from the Black Vault is like, none of it is. It's all it's in the disclosures here. It's in the DOPSR. He's not, Yeah, and new guy, you're next. You're the next caller. We're taking one caller at a time.
We haven't seen anyone coming out of the skiff going, oh,
No,
like
in
they've just
fact,
seen some revelation,
we saw congressional aides that heard 11 hours of his testimony, and they went back and told the congressman that he was not a reliable witness. So what does that mean? He could say anything in those 11 hours of testimony, apparently, because it was behind closed doors, and all these people came back and said he's an unreliable witness. So I don't think he has anything. There's also some strange connections between him and Elizondo. He may have filed one of those things just to bolster Elizondo's IG complaint. It's a big club, and I ain't in it. I don't think he has any evidence. We're at 108 days, Mr. Ian, since he came out with his original claims. Still no evidence. Not anything. None. And thank you, Mr. Fish, for a kind £1.99.
I don't think we'll see it.
No, I don't think he has anything. Unless he just said, you know what I'll do? I'll come out with all these outrageous, incredible claims, and then I'll wait 109 days before I tell anybody the evidence for these claims. It's really ridiculous. But thank you, Mr. Fish, for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you, Mr.
If we
Fish.
look at it another way, Grush has dug up a load of old things that were never really proven or disproven and brought them to the fore again, and they could well be put to rest for good. So this could well be it could be a truth purge.
Well, yeah, but the problem is, look at the amount of damage that he has done. Like, Congress isn't going to be talking about UFOs for years now, because these disclosure dorks all wheeled a mental patient into Congress to make incredible claims, but then he didn't have any evidence that he could share. So it makes the congressman think there's nothing to any of this, because these people are making these huge claims and they have no evidence. It's a problem. You know what? We're going to let new guy in here because I just found out that it's 4 a.m. in Denmark. So I apologize. You're from Denmark? Welcome.
Thank you very much. My phone
Nice to
is fucked up, so my
nice to see.
microphone is bad. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, nice to see you here. What's on your mind there, new guy?
Cocaine.
Really?
I can do. I got beers and weed. It's good.
Oh, well, now we know why you're awake at 4 a.m. Yeah, that'll do it, right? Anything can happen here, friends. It's an open show. So you're just up late. You're just up late partying. Is that what's going on?
I was with a friend earlier, but now I'm just looking for a talk, a small talk. Supporting. Streaming is a lonely business. You gotta support the lonely wolves. I've been a streamer myself. I got smarter, but 22 now. I'm a blacksmith. But I started streaming when I was 18 for 3 years. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, blacksmithing is something that's been on my bucket list. I've always wanted to learn how to do it, but I did take sort of a lesson once, and when I saw what kind of work went into making one nail, I was a lot less interested in blacksmithing. I didn't stick around. I would love to learn how to make swords and knives and axes and stuff, but
it's not kind of that way. I'm at big factories. I get hired out to new things all the time, but you are cutting the edges with a fine blade, blading, and you're cutting and you're welding, but I don't do that. I'm a school man. I did sprinklers for like fire in a big factory.
Oh, okay.
The last 4 months, big
well,
project.
Isn't it a blacksmith though, like a welder? Like you can always find work, or a carpenter? If you know how to be a blacksmith, you can always find work, right?
No, for sure. My family have a business hiring I'm in. I have my own business. You see over there. It's my calendar over there. It's my new business with my brother, but my family is doing this shit, doing really good now. 30 men, doing like $200,000 every month. Yeah.
Wow, good for you guys.
It's like, if you know how to hire men out, you can hire it out and you make money because of them. It's easy, but you have to work a lot in the start yourself. But that shit is easy to find men because but it's traveling business, so go to a new city and do it, with free hotel, everything.
Well, sounds good to me.
Whatever, yeah, it's okay, but it's stupid. It's people who do this is like junkies and alcoholics.
Well, I guess that's all the trades, though, isn't it? Like when I was a painter, everybody was doing something. Nobody can do that straight for 10 hours a
I
day.
think if you do when you're young, you go and work in different factories in different cities, and it's okay. Good money, at least. Yeah. But I miss streaming.
Oh, okay. Well, we're glad to have you. Anything else on your mind?
A lot, man. Like, are you gonna kick me out? I'm tripping. I know. And say goodbye if you wanna kick me out, but I can actually like be serious and.
Oh, I don't care. Like it's open topics, open calls tonight. So, and
I like
you're
space,
relatively
but
calm compared to some of the people that have called in.
I'm not a hater. I'm a believer. Okay, I try understanding and learning. Yeah, I can learn a lot from you guys. Probably not really, but I'm not a streamer anymore and shit. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I respect you guys and
Oh,
support.
well, thank you. Yeah, it is tough. You're right. It's tough. We want to thank Tales of the Sonic Voyage for two things: being a member and a kind and generous $5 super chat for the Mr. Ian Helmet Fund. I mean, we got to compete with that outfit, don't you think? Yeah.
I already have a full Apollo 15 spacesuit. It's in the room behind me. I imported one.
That's
I can go get the
amazing.
helmet if you want.
I just saw the movie.
Yeah, it's look. The outfit looks incomplete without the space helmet. But thanks for helping us. All right. Well, I wasn't planning on doing a panel show, but we got so many callers that I think we're just gonna bring everybody in.
We love people talk. We respect.
And we got Spirit is here. Welcome, Spirit. What's on your mind?
Hey there, Steven. How you doing?
Good. What can I do for you?
Okay.
Thanks for the skeptical coverage of the UFO
You think I'm kidding
disclosure
as well?
nonsense.
Oh, you're welcome. I think it's somebody's got to do it. There isn't enough.
Somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of the hearings that took place in the Clinton era, and I think '95. Are you familiar with those?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And those were nothing burgers too.
Yeah, and
Oh
it's
my
a lot
God,
of the
Mr.
same
Ian.
people. It's Stephen Greer, and it came out in those that Nelson Rockefeller was the primary financier for the majority of UFO disclosure, the UFO disclosure movement up until his death in the 90s. And then he ended up passing on that torch to the Clintons and John Podesta. So if you look at who is talking about it now, it's all the same characters.
Yeah, and nothing really changes. It just and then things come back in cycles. You'll notice, and interestingly, that whole thing with that initiative, he was funding a lot of wackadoos. Like he was just giving money to people like Linda Moulton Howe and Stephen Greer to do so-called research. So
yeah, the Rockefeller Initiative.
A lot of very rich, affluent people are very interested in aliens, and they think they can buy their way into the truth.
He was writing letters to Carl Sagan to try and change his mind on.
I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by this. What the hell is going on this show? He's got a full-on space helmet, dude. He's got a space helmet.
He got a nerd ponytail. It's not a man ponytail.
I've got the full spacesuit with the pack, the works, with the boots, the gloves, the pack, The
What is
power.
this about that?
And it's got aircon in it. So.
You're asking
And Anthony Peterson contributed $2 for the X-Wing Flight Suit Fund.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, thank you for helping us to praise the cash.
Raise the cash, raise the cash.
You're making the box, dude. You guys have to be careful you don't fall in the rabbit hole. You have to be
Yeah, I
careful.
think all of us have been in it for way too long already, so it's a
No,
little
no, but
late.
I'm
more
way
you look,
down the rabbit hole.
the more you
Yeah,
lose yourself.
don't stop
Be happy, take care,
stop
and
jumping in rabbit
yourself.
holes.
It's
Oh, I
strange.
forgot, and we also have Thin Lizzy Borden is here to help it make it not such a sausage party. Thank you very much.
Hey.
And she brought her pussy. That
Yeah.
sounded terrible, but she did.
Mitchie,
Well,
Mitchie,
it's because it came from you. But yeah, poor
For the
Mitchie.
benefit of the audio listeners, she's
Mitchie.
got her pussy
Black cat.
with her. Yes.
Yeah, the witch has a black cat, and I
Yeah,
wore
that's
my
a-
witch hat
Now,
to
hold on,
trigger
Mitchie.
people, the haters too.
I
Yes,
like people.
Yeah, I get nasty messages
Mitchie
about
is
you.
a cat like no other, though. Come on.
Michelante is his name. But yeah, people are.
He
mean.
goes to the shops and everything. They have like a cart. They went to a crystal fair like last week or something and took a big cart with them to ferry crystals out and took the cat with them. And the cat sits in the cart and rides along.
Or
Totally.
he climbs on shoulders
balls
too,
of steel,
but
you know?
yeah, he's
Wow.
a very much an extrovert. So the other ones are introverts at home, but he likes going out.
Astronauts and black magic. This does sound familiar. I wonder where that's from.
Jack Parsons.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the Crowleyan magic and rockets. It's a perfect combination.
There's a lot of overlap.
They've sussed us,
the
Brie.
two, isn't
They've
there?
sussed us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also, L. Ron Hubbard was heavily involved with Parsons with some of those rituals. So then there's a Scientology overlap too. So you've got Scientology, Aleister Crowley, and one of the world's leading jet propulsion experts and rocket experts, the man who formed Jet Propulsion Laboratories. That's just bizarre.
It's out of your world.
All connected, they say.
You know, you cannot worry about that.
And then wasn't Parsons a consultant with Gene Roddenberry on Star Trek too?
Yeah, to try to make it more, correct from a physics perspective. I think I read that somewhere. Yeah.
So
And Jacques
got another
Vallée,
overlap
Jacques Vallée
there
as well.
with
Star Trek, yeah. We've got Star
Star
Trek,
Trek
Scientology, ceremonial magic, demons, and witchcraft.
and if you think about it, Star Trek is just kind of like a new world order utopia.
I always thought it was funny.
They
They don't
transcended money.
they don't have any money. So then, how do they get things? I guess they use the replicators.
No, they've got replicators. They just make it.
Yeah. And Spooky says that Roddenberry, Hubbard, and why can't I get the comment up?
Come on,
Roddenberry,
Gary.
Hubbard, and
Come on.
Arthur C. Clarke would drink together in the Hotel California. Yeah, I believe it. Arthur C. Clarke, he's another one. Luciferian. He wrote that book, Childhood's End. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like that's the script they're going to use when they fake the alien invasion.
What about StreamYard?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
StreamYards. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. You know StreamYards. This is a website. What do you think about this shit? Like streaming in here and everything. We should talk about what we're doing. Look inside.
I mean, I use
the interwebs and how we're all connected.
The spider web, yeah. The fishing net.
The interwebs were all connected at one time here.
And this
Now
is really bad.
there's
And
no
we're
such
saying
thing
good
as a
things, but
coincidence.
what are you really getting out of it for yourself and what are we really sharing? Not hate. We try and understand. Say we like, we don't like. But this is retarded. We should talk about you and me, woman.
Anthony Peterson is here and says Roddenberry
Steve,
also
when
had
did
to
you,
fall back on writing chops because of low budget he had, and some great episodes were produced. Go ahead, Mr. Ian. Sorry.
When did you swap? Did you not have two black sofas there, or have you always had those two white chairs?
No, I got rid of the blacks. I got rid of the black sofa because everybody told me that it looked like the sofa from Casting Couch, and I went and looked at Casting Couch, and it did. It looked like the same exact.
You couldn't
It looked like
see
the same
it.
couch.
Yeah, Cambian's casting couch.
Yeah, and then I got so many messages. Somebody even sent me a meme of Cambian's Casting Couch, and yeah.
I bet that was funny though. But yeah, not the image you want to portray if you want to, interview someone in person. That
like, oh, come to my casting couch for an interview. Like, so I moved that out, and now I got to find a place to put that couch somewhere else in my house. But we have a couch that is kind of like really beat up, so I think I'm going to toss one of these old couches and just put that there. It looks better with just the two chairs because I'm not going to have 8 people in here at once. At least I don't think so. Have 8 people at once. I mean, what am I going to do? Interview a baseball team all together at one time?
I mean, if they saw there was a mass, sighting.
Well, I think we lost our coked up friend. He probably went for an 8-ball run. I don't know.
Back to cooking.
Somebody said it must have been.
Did he
really
say what he was cooking exactly?
No, I don't know. But somebody said it must have been really shady coke because he was too calm. Yeah, I don't understand somebody calling into a show and going
sledging as it's known.
Yeah, I'm doing drugs. What do you guys do? I asked him what's on his mind. He's like, I'm doing drugs. That's what's on my mind. Like, oh man.
You weren't cooking with a lighter, were you?
Great. Now Simon Fly says those white chairs are like brothel chairs. I wouldn't know. I've never been in one. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, look. Speaking of drugs, I have today legally been speeding my face off on amphetamine sulfate. I got my ADHD meds today, and for the first time, and after being diagnosed at 52. So I've been waiting for 3 years now to get these meds, and I've got more done today than I normally do in a week. It's been quite a life changer. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, I never understood though how speed makes you calm down if you're already high strung and have problems paying attention, but somehow it resets people's like system. It works for a lot of people.
It's a difficult. I was saying this to Bree before, but you've got an echo there. That ADHD is like having a 9-year-old, a really enthusiastic 9-year-old that loves shiny things and LEDs and fast-moving objects in control of your focus. So when you're trying to focus on something, it doesn't want to focus on that. It wants to focus on the shiny moving things and the flashing lights and the stuff. So half of you is screaming, damn it, stop it. I just want to listen to the dude. I can't concentrate on what they're saying.
Yeah, but you and I have talked about this before. Don't you think that some people
amphetamine narrows it?
Yeah, but we've talked about this before. Don't you think that some people that are very ADD, like I am, but you learn to adjust and adapt to it, and it almost becomes like a superpower. Like, I don't know many people that could do some of the production stuff that I do, and I go back and forth between I can't pay attention.
You modulate it with
nicotine and whatever.
Green. Yeah, the nicotine. You modulate yours with nicotine. So you do it live as well. You're doing it now, in fact. So it's a 13 seconds roughly from you taking the drag of the cigarette to that nicotine hitting the hypothalamus in your brain and causing a dopamine release. So, and that dopamine release is a reward, and then you go, great, I'm doing well, and that allows you to get on with stuff. And strangely, that dopamine lack is slightly rooted in childhood trauma. It's your brain literally going, sod this, I'm out of here.
I'm sure there's a correlation in the fact that our parents and our grandparents' generation were all being prescribed speed and smoking cigarettes, and look how much stuff they got built and got done. There's some correlation there.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to admit, like, I'm working on the vaping.
The British Empire. The British
I've been
Empire was
vaping
built
while
on opium and cocaine.
I've been vaping while I edit now, and that's not quite the same as cigarettes, but it's the same effect. Like, it helps me to focus, so I can just get things done. So whatever I got to do, you know. Not many people want to sit there in front of a computer and edit for 10 hours, but when I'm very focused, I could do it for 16 at a shot. But then I collapse. Then I just collapse, you know, when I'm it's like time for a test render. I'm done, you know. Yeah, I'm hoping that the Linda Moulton Howe Killed Those Cows conspiracy, we're going to release that in the next couple of days. And then we're going to finally, I have to talk to somebody over the weekend here coming up. My weekend starts tonight or tomorrow, but we're going to release the location of the David Wilcock Dildo Challenge. We're finally going to show everybody where that box of dildos have been.
The box of willies.
Waiting for David Wilcock. And when you guys see where it is, it's amazing. It's amazing that he hasn't found it, considering where we put it. And that's all I'm going to say for now. And then, of course, the Linda Moulton Howe Killed Those Cows conspiracy. There's much more evidence that she killed those cows than aliens did it. That's all I'm going to say to the naysayers. Wait till you hear these whistleblowers.
Baker said the Germans did invent amphetamines during the war. Probably did lead to some that Yahtzee super science.
Yeah, they used to give them capsules. They used to give the Nazi soldiers capsules of meth. And Hitler was reportedly taking meth. And then he would take down in the 90s.
I grew up in the 90s, and when I'd go out with all my mates and we'd go to a club or something, we'd go raving, as it was. And then we used to get this speed called pink champagne, and it was a bright pink color. It had a gorgeous taste to it, and I remember all my friends would be like charging like this, and I would be Mr. Cool Beans, I would be Mr. Zen, I would make sure everyone got home okay, and everyone's like, how are you so level-headed? Everyone else was battered. How are you so level-headed?
Does the opposite.
Yeah, it does the opposite for people with your condition.
Kind of like with caffeine also, where it's
caffeine,
like,
yeah, I have a cup of coffee and 10 minutes later I'm asleep. It's weird.
I'll get sleepy because of coffee too. So that's where it's like, I always think I probably have a touch of ADD, but I guess that's just my generation.
It is the same across the board with all drugs though. So it is, I don't know, because I will never ever perceive them from the other perspective, I suppose. So,
I mean, but in different indigenous cultures, like, chew on like ayahuasca leaves, coca, ayahuasca,
I tried that. Someone got me some
stuff.
Someone got me some DMT over Christmas, and I must have taken. There was apparently 20 doses in what I was given, and I did that over 2 sessions, and I've not had any visuals or breakthroughs or anything, and I can confirm it was DMT. So I think I'm just locked out of that realm.
If you're on any medication that might prevent those things, I've read.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Okay, so. It's interesting how our bodies react to different things.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I only got my medications today, so.
How do you feel? Do you feel anything?
It took 20 minutes to come up on the first tablet, and then I spent the first hour giggling, just because my head woke up and I had dopamine, and that was like, wow. And then I wrote some music and listened to some music and went to the post office and polished my car and pumped up the tires on the bike and cleaned the bike and then did the washing up and got the dinner ready for my wife when she came in. And literally, that's more than I'd do in a fortnight normally.
Well, that's if you.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Hopefully
It's
that'll
helping
keep going.
and
Yeah.
it works well for you. You know, that's good.
Well, I hope so. We'll see what day 2 brings.
Yes, all you have to do, you have to take it day by day and notice any, ill side effects and all that good stuff.
So, okay, so this we're all about the UFOs here. Jason, hello.
Yeah.
What's happened with these alien bodies? What's the what? I mean, it's been all over. They were live streaming it. What was the result of what's happened?
Well, there's two things. The people pushing the hoax are saying, "Oh, they're non-human," and we did these DNA results and this and that. But if you go to independent analysts who have looked at them, they all say these are fakes that were made from glued together bones. There's bones in the wrong places. There's upside down bones. There's femur bones in the arms. There's arm bones in the legs. And then they used a llama skull that they cut the jaw off of and put on the top backwards. It's so slimy to do that to a human body. That's a human being, and you're cutting off its head and sticking a llama skull on it so you can sell an alien hoax. I don't believe that you can trust anything that the people selling the hoax are saying. Like, oh, we have DNA results that say they're only 30% human or 70% human. And yeah, well, that's because there's a llama skull on it. Like, did you test a skull or where did you get the samples from? And one of the doctors was behind the Roswell slide hoax. He's the doctor who said that body depicted in the Roswell slides could not be a human being. It turned out it was a human being, 100%. So who cares what they say?
Why rocks in its stomach? Why rocks in its stomach? Okay, so birds
they tried to say they were reptilian and it was pregnant, and those were eggs
rolling around.
Yeah, they were trying to say they were eggs. And look, when it comes down to it,
if they're not eggs,
the Peruvian government is criminally investigating all of the people involved because it's a crime to rob graves from an archaeological site in Peru. It's a crime to desecrate human remains in Peru, and it's a crime to take a cultural artifact, which a mummy would be, out of Peru to Mexico. So they've already identified, and I think there's a whole gang of people who have been robbing these graves, and they have identified them. They're going to face criminal charges, and then they're going after Jaime Maussan criminally for somehow removing these bodies from Peru to Mexico. And he said he didn't do anything illegal, but it's illegal to take a human body from Peru to Mexico. It's just illegal.
What is their story about where the bodies come from?
They won't say. They're just being very, confrontational. Like you saw that clip with Jaime Maussan freaking out, saying, "I didn't do anything illegal."
It seems like it's lies by omission, where it's like he didn't do anything illegal.
Yeah,
but
and the guy who discovered
the
guy who apparently discovered the guy who discovered these mummies is a proven convicted con artist. He was scamming people with fake gold. He was literally like spray painting rocks gold and selling it to people as gold, and he got arrested and convicted for that. So when you tell me that these bodies were discovered by a proven con artist, immediately I don't believe anything else you say. You gotta, and then we showed the independent analysts, including medical doctors, anatomy experts, archaeologists, anthropologists, all look at their data that just the x-rays alone prove that these are glued together body parts. This is not, rocket science here. And if they're gluing together bones backwards or upside down, that may be some indication that these are fakes. These aren't what they're pretending they are to be, And I think that whoever's involved in this whole thing, they all should have to give every penny back. Gaia TV should be criminally
Mhm.
prosecuted, and so should Jaime Maussan and everybody else that was involved in this, because it's the desecration of human remains, you know. And
Yeah.
I got a lot of hate mail because I said publicly, like, to all the people promoting this hoax as, oh well, maybe it's real. Like, show me where your dead relatives are buried, and if you're not okay with me digging them up, ripping their bones apart and gluing their bones all back together, jamming a llama skull on top and pretending it's an alien, if you're not okay with that, then you shouldn't be okay with this, because there was children's bodies included in this hoax. These are some, and as well as adult corpses' bodies. So these were somebody's parents. These were somebody's brother, sister, cousin, you know,
Yeah, and
loved
that
one, husband, wife, child. The fact that they're using dead baby bodies to scam people for alien dollars, it tells you everything that's wrong with this whole thing. Like,
and
where's the line? Like, they're using human dead babies. You know,
it's
what's
just
next? They're going to kill.
disgraceful.
Are they
It's
going to
just
kill somebody to
disgraceful.
use their body next? Like, where's the line at?
I've said some shaman or some bruja, some family members are, you know, they're gonna, you know, take care of that, you know, take care of him on their own with their spirituality, you know, because like you said, it is definitely, it's disgusting what they're doing to humans, and it's gonna come back to them, you know. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's,
agree with you.
you know,
Pinzer Lou is back. Haven't seen you in a while. I thought you died, Pinzer Lou.
So
You
do
know,
you guys think that there's
Pinzer,
like
I
a
haven't
greater
seen Pinzer.
impetus towards getting people to believe in the aliens and the UFOs, like some Project Bluebeam sort of thing that they've got happening down the pipe?
yeah, I really don't know, but it seems like there is a severe media push about UFOs and aliens for the past couple of years.
Because
Now,
they're
of course,
definitely pushing it in the mainstream media, and if the mainstream media is
well,
saying
it's
it, then I don't
ratings.
believe it.
It's ratings,
Money,
though.
yeah, TV
Money,
money.
you know?
Mhm.
You know, look, you got News Nation. They're almost only covering UFO stuff, and they're supposed to be a news channel. That's all you guys want to talk about is aliens, because it gets ratings. They've probably made millions of dollars so far in ad revenue just off the Grush story, and now they're starting to move into other stories because they realized how profitable it is. And it's, everybody's a clickbait merchant today, whether they want to be or not, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. I was only joking, Pinzer. I'm sorry to hear that. But just so everybody's aware, if you're a longtime viewer and then you just disappear, I do think of you and I go, gee, I hope they're okay. Like, I hope they didn't just like get hit by a truck and die and I don't know it, or, you know, because if somebody's here so much and then they're just gone and I don't see them for a while, I don't know what happened, you know. I still think about certain people that used to be like here every day and they're just gone, you know.
I've
But I
known
know people
Pinzer
come
for
and
a
go.
while. I haven't seen
Yeah.
her for you know, I'm friends with her on Instagram, so I'm connected that way. But it's nice to see some old faces, definitely.
Yeah, everybody's cashing in on the UFO grift, except for us here, because we're here telling people the truth and we pay the truth tax for that. Yeah, we never know. Well, I'm glad I hope you're okay, Pinzer, and I'll talk to you off air. I hope you're okay. All right, what's next? It's open topics. Are we only going to talk about this nonsense that we always talk about, or has somebody got something better?
I showed you that one guy, Deep. I forgot his last name, but
Deep Prasad, yeah,
yes,
he's so full of shit. That
so
guy.
I don't know if that could be potentially something, but I clicked on. Well, actually, it was suggested that Jesse, the guy that just did the Grush interview.
Yeah, he also interviewed that guy about
yeah,
alien
so
technology.
I
And
clicked
you know,
on
no
it.
offense,
20
but
seconds in, I was like, "This smells like." I was like,
well,
"Oh my!"
here's what I know about that particular individual, and we're talking about Deep Prasad. He claims that he has millions and millions of investment into his company, and his company is a PO box. Who invests millions of dollars into a company that doesn't have any facility whatsoever physically? I don't know anybody that would invest that much money. And then I also have a background in computer science, and I listened to his lecture, or his so-called lecture, on quantum computing, and I don't understand how he's saying he's a quantum computer expert. We'll just leave it at that, you know.
Because
And,
if you think you know how a quantum computer works, you don't. Ergo, if you don't know how a quantum computer works, you know how a quantum computer works. So he's obviously an expert because he's got absolutely no knowledge of a quantum computer.
yeah, we have a new caller. We're going to bring him in here. We have Reverend Rant.
Oh, I'll dip so that guy can come on board. But thanks for having me.
Okay, yeah, nice to see you, Spirit. Don't be a stranger.
Have a good night.
All right, bye-bye. All right, man over 4. Welcome, Reverend Rant.
Hey, good evening, guys. I like to bounce around and support and check out other streamers because everybody's got something interesting to say. And I was listening to you guys talk, and of course you had your invitation to jump in, so I couldn't resist. You know, I was gonna point out a couple things, but one, I think you guys would be a lot of fun to get in this discussion with. I'm a bit of a history nut. I love studying history, and it doesn't matter. Like currently, like my show is politics and news and all the fun things we bicker about. But when you're studying all that, you find everything else. When you study history, if you study Bill Gates, you find all the way back to Nazis and Western civilization, and there's just everything is connected. That's the biggest thing I notice about studying history. Everything's connected. You might start off studying one thing and then find out, now you're reading articles about, some rare coin or some off the wall thing, and it's all connected. And so a couple things that I notice, like you guys were talking about before, that they're taking and gluing together, people's bones and things like that. Well, the entire archaeology industry, like 99% of what we see in museums today is grave robbers and
plunderers,
plunderers and dealers, and that's my problem, when it comes to the UFO issue, is there's so much grift. Okay, I'm a believer in possibility, and I'm a believer in mathematics, and I believe that particularly math doesn't lie. It doesn't care how you feel about it or don't feel about it or whatever. Math is facts, period. And so math, the mathematics of probability, things like that, establish that it's almost a certainty that that there's life in the universe other than ourselves.
That's very much that's a perspective point of view. For instance, if you use maths to work out the following problem, if it takes 2 hours to dry 3 towels on a washing line, how long does it take to dry 9 towels? Now, maths would suggest, you see where I'm going with that.
Okay? Yeah.
Because it takes 2 hours to dry 9 towels, the same as it takes 2 hours to dry 3 towels. But however, the maths would have you believing it would take you 6 hours to dry 9 towels.
Well, you actually overlap into chaos theory. And
that's very interesting.
I'm saying that maths suggests we can do things that we can't necessarily do. I mean, maths suggests that we can beat the speed of light. But go on then.
Sure, but do you understand? Do you know chaos theory? Have you know about chaos theory?
As in the Mandelbrot set, recurring fractal, like the Fibonacci sequence, essentially.
Well, chaos
it's not
theory
chaos. It's not chaos. It's ordered. It's through a
well, that's what I'm saying.
Feedback of C.
Yeah. focuses on patterns usually. I studied chaos theory for. I was doing computer code that had to do with procedural generation. Now this is going to get boring to anybody that's not into computers, I guess. But procedural generation is how many video games now generate the world that you're in. You know,
Right.
they don't sit there and draw each tree, and you know they use something called procedural generation. So I studied chaos theory to try to understand patterns and how you can use patterns to procedurally generate in a whole artificial world.
It's a seed,
But
isn't it?
mostly what I found is that it all comes down to just a lot of random number generators, and there's not much
But
more to it than that. Yeah.
That's the point of chaos theory, is everything appears chaos until you understand the variables. Once you understand all the variables,
Sure.
then you know where to go with the math. If you don't have a direction, math can take you anywhere and be absolutely wrong. But if you have the right direction, then you can figure out anything with math. And that's the secret, like untold secret that they don't talk about. You have to have, you know, a key point to, you know, to start from and know where you're going. You know, it's like you said, you know, math could you know, delude you into thinking something is what it isn't if you don't know the variables. And but that's kind of the thing is that I look at,
but that's so much as observing a game of chess without knowing the rules. You know, you build up
it's pretty
the rules
boring
as
if you don't
you
know how the
observe
game
the
works.
game.
Yeah.
But then every so often they'll pull us a you know, a swerve ball like castling or
right.
you know, like, or a
And I
pawn getting to the
absolutely-
other side and suddenly becoming a queen. It's like, what?
Yeah, and I absolutely
that
love chess. So you're barking up my tree. Well, here's the thing: is if you look at, and I'm going to show you how much of a nerd I really am. If you look at cellular structure, say under a microscope, or you look at, you know, protons and neutrons, et cetera, and then you turn around and stick your eye to a telescope and look out into the universe, you start to notice similar patterns. Everything throughout the universe follows a pattern. Life, structure, all of it starts to begin to show the patterns. And so
very much so. When you look at the energy flow, and especially the new
Right.
photos that we're getting through from the James Webb Telescope, would indicate that the universe has a similar shape to a brain.
Exactly.
The neurons in a brain.
And then you realize that those patterns are repetitive. So if the patterns are repetitive and everything is, you know, everything in the world, you know, happens in cycles, and that's, you know, just the reality. And you also realize that there's, you know, there's a harmonic balance that goes to this as well. There's an energy that follows.
You're suggesting a Mobius strip of volume or size, so that once you get to an ultimate volume, somehow the Mobius strip of volume comes back and it becomes very tiny again.
I mean,
Well,
look at
so
us
we-
as
so-
humans. We
Yeah.
start out like a baby, and then when we get old people like turn into a baby. You know, it's like
I think you
cycle.
that is very
But,
that is
I
very
mean,
true.
you know, there's you
No,
know,
but
you can look
is
at
it is it what you're
different
trying to
ways.
say, like that because patterns are constant, and the patterns that created life on Earth are probably the same patterns that would create life elsewhere?
Bingo.
I see it all around me in life.
Could-
Even when you get a problem happening with the country,
Right.
you get like a smaller macro version of it happening socially, and then a smaller macro version of that happening within the family, smaller group.
But consider,
and you see it repeating all the way up. It's really
and,
odd.
and consider that if everything else in this universe is repeating, how is it possible that we are the only anomaly? That's the part that screams to me. Like, I don't have proof that we're not the only anomaly in the entire universe. I have no proof. I have no evidence. Couldn't walk into a courtroom. Couldn't even hold a valid argument to the you know, the effect. However, repeating patterns of literally everything else, how are we the only anomaly?
No, I think that the universe is so vast that it's almost incomprehensible to me. You know,
Right.
like if and listen, if some scientists are correct that everything is just a roll of the dice, and we were in the Goldilocks zone, we had the right group of elements to support primitive life, and primitive life turns into more advanced life, and this and that. Just by the roll of the dice, then it would have to have happened somewhere else. There's
You are
billions
essentially
of stars
saying
and billions of galaxies, and
Yeah.
there's got to be another planet that was in the right Goldilocks zone, that had liquid
Exactly.
water, that had
even
certain
still,
elements.
we're still rare.
Hey,
We're still rare. We are a significant element in an insignificant position.
but even, you know, when you look at terms of the roll of the dice, you know, like you said, the Goldilocks zone, that still falls into the laws of probability.
Yeah,
It doesn't
so
eliminate the laws of probability. Say that something will happen again, and you know, the repetition of that happening might differ, but it will happen again. And that's the, you know, like, we don't have any proof, we don't have any valid, we can say definitive this, but there's clear suggestion that this is entirely possible.
no, I
There are
absolutely
there
agree
are
with
there
you.
are way
And
more
then when
there
you
are
look
way
at
more ocean moons. There are way more ocean moons than there are Earth-like planets that have land as
yeah,
well.
well, maybe they
So
have
that-
aquatic life.
so-
We don't know.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we know that
frozen.
Earth, we know that life existed or started in the thermal vents at the bottom of the sea, where those complex amino acids are created from the volcanic activity,
Soup of
basically,
life,
which
yes.
allows for single cell organisms and bacteria to grow, etc. So essentially, if that happens, and then you don't have land for the resultant life to crawl out onto, you don't have an oxygen environment in which to create combustion. So then you don't have rocketry, so you can't leave the planet. So and you don't have engines. You don't have, for instance, the
Right.
utilization of fire and water together to produce steam. You don't have steam engines. You don't have electricity. So what technology would be able to evolve from a life form that began on an ocean planet and was always in the sea? So they would have bioluminescence, they would have an organic technology, essentially, not a.
Or they just don't need technology, like, and therefore never develop it. And that opposable thumb is kind of helpful
Or
because
it's a
you
lot
need
slower.
tools to
Yeah.
create machines and technology. But dolphins
Yeah, have
don't
you
have
seen
a need for
octopus? Have you
technology.
seen octopus? They've got 8 legs.
Oh
So,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess you're right.
an
Yeah.
evolved, a
And that they're
hyper-evolved octopus would
aliens,
weigh out
you
about
know?
performance.
You know, that's part of my consideration is that, you know, not just intelligent life, but I mean, there's got to be, you know, a planet out there with some sort of, you know, microbe, some sort of, you know, not everything is.
I think there could be that on Mars. You know, if Mars was once Earth-like, the likelihood that at least bacteria survives somewhere on that planet is very high. And I wish that they would do more testing.
Here's a scary fact for you. Scary fact for you. That even though we're humans and there's a lot of us on this planet, the most common form of life on planet Earth is parasitic.
Yep.
It's interesting. Well, yeah, I sure know some bloodsuckers, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you guys.
So I call them soul suckers. Yeah.
I say energy vamps.
When they went to clean the lens on the and found the
tardigrades on it,
the microbes and stuff living on it that normally live in the ocean is out now living in space.
Water bears.
I mean,
water bears, tardigrades.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that alone says that. I mean, if that's possible, then that clearly shows greater possibility.
But they are tough buggers. They're tough, but you're talking panspermia.
Yeah.
Panspermia with tardigrades.
Yeah.
Well, if they could survive in deep space, then they might hitch a ride on an asteroid or a comet and,
Yeah.
and eventually reach another planet.
Well,
So,
Mork survived in that egg thing. So
Mork from Mork. Yes, definitely. Montauk Jeff is here with a kind and generous $10 super chat, $9.99. So speaking of math, inflation caused the price of lap dances to go up at my local strip club, praising the cashier instead. Well, thank you, Montauk Jerkoff. What a user ID, but we appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us and helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash.
We're praising the cash tonight. You want to tell us about your show there? Is it Boiling Point Live is your show?
Yeah. Boiling Point Live. I'm also on Twitter. I write articles. I do a lot of, news and commentary. I've also got a background in psychology, so I like to do commentary on, stuff like cognitive dissonance, mass formation.
What's your YouTube channel called? Is it called Boiling Point?
I'm actually not on YouTube. I have a bad habit of talking about things that are censored on YouTube. So
you're on Rumble or something like that?
I am on Rumble. I am here on pill.net. I'm on DLive.
Oh, pill.net.
Yeah,
That's how you found us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've just moved across there.
No,
I'm loving pill.net so far because there's a whole other audience over there that doesn't know us and never heard of us.
Fantastic community here. Yeah. Once everybody gets to know you and starts coming in, your pill chat will be pretty busy.
Wow, I'm glad to. It already is. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that you found us through that too. I'm starting to get messages from people from pill.net. We love it so far.
We have you as Rev Rant. What's your name, sir?
Well, that's it. I'm Reverend Rant.
Reverend Rant.
Reverend Rant. You gotta love it.
Is that actually your surname? That can't be your surname.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, then you had to get into podcasting and radio or something. It was like in your name.
and I'm actually a reverend too.
Really? A Christian minister?
I am an ordained minister, yes.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is.
I'm an ordained priest of Buddhism.
I'm a firm believer in follow the gospel, not the church. So I don't follow along with.
I'm a recovering Catholic, so I am with you, man. Yeah. Did you know that in a lot of people don't know this, but if you're Catholic, you're allowed to read the Bible, but the priests have to tell you what it all means. You're not allowed to come to your own conclusions.
That's how it was. That's how it was.
That's how it is in the Catholic Church. It still is to this day.
Yeah.
You're allowed to read, but not interpret the Gospels.
If you look at the entirety of the Bible as a love story about relationships, then you understand it. A lot of people look at, we got all these cool rules we can follow. We got rules we can make other people follow. Oh my God, let's enjoy the rules. Let me tell you about God's
it's a very
wrath.
sad day. It's a sad day indeed when you take a mistranslation of Hebrew
but everything in it is
then turn it into a romantic novel.
Right. Well, here's the thing: think about this. If you look at the beginning of the Bible, like everybody's heard the story of the snake in the garden. The devil and the snake. And separated Adam.
It's never
and Eve.
talked about it's never mentioned as a serpent or a snake. Actually, it's weird.
Well,
in the Hebrew documents, in the Septuagint, the translation from the Hebrew, which we've used as our Rosetta Stone in order to produce the King James Bible and the Good News Bible and the Gideon's Bible and all of these, they're all taken from the Septuagint. They're all taken from the King James, and the King James is taken from the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation from the Hebrew scripts, and they got it screwed up for a start because they translated the word Elohim as God instead of gods, and there's the big mistake because now the entire of Christianity is based on a single God, and it was never that in any of the Hebrew scripts, and the Jews know that as well. Interesting, that isn't it? So all of the Christians and the entire of America is built on Christianity is built on a massive mistranslation and a lie. Oh my God.
Well,
But
here's
it's
the
useful.
point,
It's a
though.
belief, and it holds communities together. So you can't really trash it now, because like all of the communities that have been built on it, they will wildly defend it and say that it's a good thing. You see, because placing your belief in sky fairies is obviously logical, with no proof
Well,
whatsoever.
But there's a point that I have to it. Is if you look at, well, two things. One, if you look at it in terms of relationships, so you look at the stories that man was separated from God in the garden, you know, regardless of what details are right. Then you look later on, you know, God sent his son to reconnect that relationship, because that's really the whole point of the whole thing, is to reconnect the
No, so
relationship.
God was keeping us as dumb monkeys in his garden, and some guy turned up and went, "Hold on, God, that's really out of order. You should really let them make their own choices there. In fact, I'm going to let them make their own choices and give them the power of choice." At which point, it's written in the Bible. It says, "And now they have eaten of the tree of knowledge. All that they have to do is eat of the tree of life, and they will be like us." And the words "like us."
Okay.
So
Can
are they different beings? Are they different creatures? Because they seem to be the same
Can-
creatures that
well,
God is.
can I actually finish my point?
Okay.
So here's the deal for me. One is, if we look at it in terms of relationships and the moral values that we need to have, you know, say a civil society, to have you know, stable relationships, to be able to have freedom without destroying each other, things like that. That's the part that's important to me. The fact of God or not God is actually kind of irrelevant. It's the belief in the system that works. And if we don't have,
You're admitting that
basic,
religion has nothing to do with God, and it is purely a method of social control. I mean, that's
no, I'm
fair enough.
admitting,
Brilliant, great.
yeah,
That's what it is.
But I'm admitting
That's
that
what
I
it
don't know
is.
anything. I don't know anything about that part of it at all. I don't know what's true or not true, and I'm not going to claim to. But I do know that.
Well, the Romans amalgamated a load of smaller, petty pantheon religions took aspects of them and rolled them into a religion that would be acceptable for everyone. It was like a kind of communist religion sort of thing, and it kind of absorbed all these other smaller temples that were going on in Rome at the time, and us in the Western world have very much accepted that is the way now, and like the story of Jesus and stuff was represented far earlier in other religions, and it's just weird. And then since then, because it was such a hodgepodge and there's so much room for argument, we end up with all these different sects of religions that have their own different perspectives and different views. I mean,
Well, you know
there's
what,
even
Mr. Ian,
a blasphemous.
You're missing that we got a Christian minister here, and we also have Lizzy. So why don't we?
My stepfather was a
perspective
consultant
on-
headmaster, head layman, and wrote 5 books on angel experiences, and also lectured in Latin and Greek. So I've looked into this. Really, I have.
What is a pagan's perspective on God and all of this stuff and religion?
I grew up in a cult, so I grew up Jehovah's Witness, and yeah, now I am a pagan witch. I connect with my my ancestors, so it's really crystal hippie, you know, whatever. But I'm connected with like my Aztec roots and my Norse roots, and then I was looking into the Polish witches. So I just connect with my roots, and then it's a lot of with nature. So I have, I guess, a very different perspective, but yeah, That's all I have to
Yeah, I
say.
mean, sometimes
I guess we're
sometimes I
different.
think different religions is just different lenses that
It
people
is.
see
It
the nature of
definitely.
God through. And what some people would say,
Well,
oh, that's pagan, they're polytheistic. Well, maybe they're just saying different aspects of the same God you're praying to, you know?
I've got to back that up. I mean, I've dissed religion, but at no point have I said that God doesn't exist. I carry God with me in my heart. We are all fragments of God, and how we choose to treat each other and how we choose to be with our other selves is up to us, really.
But that's the basis of, if I could finish what I'm saying, that's the basis of exactly what I'm talking about. How we treat each other and even how we treat ourselves is what we have to focus on. And I find that the moral points and the wisdoms in the Bible are more articulatable than probably any other book to the masses anyway. For myself, I derive my wisdoms from a lot of places, as well as from our own historical lessons, and that's the conclusion that I come up with is that we need, and this is really the bottom line for society, we need a moral rule, a set of moral values outside of ourselves that we can all measure ourselves against and measure each other against and hold ourselves equal to that measure of rule, whatever it may be. And that's where we stand the most. Now, real quick, because I see some of the chats flying up on the screen real quick. So I want to share something else with you too. I am very familiar with the Poetic Edda. I don't know if you guys know that, but some of your chat members do.
The what? The poetic?
It's called the Poetic Edda. It's basically the Bible for Vikings. So if you're an Odinist, or in the what some would call a Satru or Asatru, then you're going to know that book. I read and write the Elder Futhark, and those listening that know will know. I read and write the Elder Futhark fluently, esoterically as well as exoterically. So I know the Havamal from top to bottom. There's a lot of wisdom there. It's just not articulatable. It's not easy to convey to other people. That's really the problem is, if we're going to be leaders in society, if we're going to help each other be better people and live, in a peaceful and prosperous society, then we have to find what works. And I agree with all of you. There are 101 reasons to discount. If you go through the Bible and you try to look at it, like a lawyer would or whatever, dig through it in detail, it's pointless. The whole thing is pointless. However, if you understand the bigger pictures, if you understand how we should treat each other, and there are a whole bunch of different belief systems that cover the same thing, but it really comes down to how we treat each other, how we treat ourselves, because how you treat yourself, how you talk to yourself is just as important as how you talk to other people. And a lot of people don't think about that. And these are what I focus on. When I talk to people, when I try to lead people, everything else, that's what I'm focusing on. The reality is that society is falling apart now, right before our eyes. We're watching social decay, and it doesn't matter what side of the fence you are on politically or anything else. It's still apparent from any position you're standing, and a lot of that is because we don't have a foundation of agreement, a foundation of basic.
Do you not think that's Darwinian in its nature? It's almost like natural eugenics. These people are literally giving up on society, disabling their foundation and their support network. These people aren't going to survive. They'll die, and as a result, the world population will come down. It's like literally the idiots kill themselves. Don't worry about it.
Sometimes, yeah.
I think it's cyclical. I think that the fall of Rome was inevitable, or the fall of any other civilization for that matter. But I also see that, and a lot of people don't think about this when you hear about the fall of Rome, or well, the fall of Rome's the the most known. The reality is that the Roman people didn't suddenly disappear. Many of those people still held together as a society. They just went on to become something else. They still, still the same people living the same lives. Just we stamped a different name on the front of the city.
It's an interesting one. There were lots of causes in the breakdown of the Roman Empire, basically because they were so spread out across Europe. What they would do is the trade route that went across Europe and up over the Alps and ended up in France, Paris, around there, in order to get messages to the Pope. Or for the Pope, in order to get messages across Europe, they had to use this track across the Alps. And rather than using the track across the Alps, if they got a boat up the Mediterranean would allow them to do this journey in a day or two, rather than the 2 weeks or something it took them to get across the Alps. So that the message systems within the Roman Empire relied on boats going up and down the Mediterranean and only taking a day or two to carry those messages. Now, what happened is Islamic Byzantine pirates from North Africa then suddenly started making raids on Europe. And when we see the these sultans that had these harems full of all beautiful Christian women, they would go in and take prisoners of an entire village, and all the men would be Christian men. It's absolutely disgusting. White Christian men, predating black slavery. White Christian men would be chained to the boats and used until they died. The skin on their back would blister. They would have to toilet where they sat, and basically when they died, they would just unchain them and put a new one in their place. So it was no life, and their wives would be taken and put in these harems, and as a result, the rule of the sea, or the fair rule of the sea, which existed beforehand, meant that no one would take any of these boats, and Romans were free to pass messages up and down the Mediterranean within days, as opposed to weeks. They built a society on that, in fact, and when the Byzantine pirates started doing raids, they were unable to pass messages up and down the Mediterranean. And as a result, the entire social network that had been built up of the Romans just collapsed. It went tribal.
I think, I think it was a lot more than just that. I think it was a whole handful of factors, together at once. And what it amounts to is that any society that grows too big, any specifically government that grows too big and loses a moral direction, it starts to decay. When the government leads the societal decay, it's not whether or not the society is given to degeneracy. It's when their government begins to lead that degeneracy that
it's a strange degeneracy as well, isn't it? The fact that we can have drag act story time, but we don't have death metal story time. We don't have like Gwar in all their foam armor and big rock guitars doing a story time for kids, but we do have men dressed as prostitutes doing
We'll take a moment.
I'm an advocate for more metal in schools. I am anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
an advocate for it.
I only got through high school by putting one earbud in and turning my head so the teacher couldn't see it and listening to music all day.
I had the long hair.
Message from Accompli Zared, who's been a member for 12 months. It says, Stephen and guests, any opinion on the new movie on Hulu, No One Can Save You? It looks kind of cool. Haven't seen it, haven't heard of it. I'll look it up. I'll check it out. Anybody else?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't heard of it.
There you go. There you go. And we want to thank Zizix for and thanks for being a member for 12 months, a member for a year. Zizix with a kind and generous $2 super chat saying, I can only have ONR, the 10 Commandments. And by the way, I was going to mention to you, Reverend, that Isn't it interesting that the three biggest religions in the world, so many people can't agree on things, but Islam, Judaism, and Christianity all agree that the 10 Commandments are a good and ethical way to live your life.
Well, they all three come from Abraham.
Exactly, the Abrahamic religions. Yeah, but it's
So
interesting. So if you think about it, there's an incredible amount of millions and millions of people that subscribe to these religions that profess to believe this is a good way to live your life, to keep these 10 Commandments. But yet the world is a mess. So where are all these 10 Commandment keepers? I wonder that sometimes.
Because the guidance of government. At the end of the day, when the people in government, like one of the arguments that I get a lot of is everybody says, oh, well, Christianity's bad because the Crusades. It's like, yeah, but those people weren't acting as Christians. They were living in a time where the church was the government. And so
the church was pious, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so people seeking power got into positions, and it still all comes down to power. And even now, even at the church level, there's a lot of these people that, that are seeking money. They've turned church into a business, and they're looking for ways.
Thomas Cromwell did that, didn't he? Came back and he sacked Parliament and he sacked the church because they were while he was on the Crusades. He basically came back, and the people that he'd left in charge in England at the time just basically went criminal, went mafia.
Right.
I forgot. I don't know if I said it, but thank you, Zizix, for two things: being a member and the $2 super chat, and thanks again, Complizer, member for 12 months. Thank you for your support, both you guys. Yeah, so we're hitting 2 hours. I think we're going to wrap things up here. We don't have any callers waiting in the wings. I want to thank everybody who did call in, and nice to see Reverend Rant. I just remembered right before showtime. Maybe I should put the invite link in the pill.net chat. So I'm glad that I did, and I'm glad you found us. Don't be a stranger.
Well, I appreciate being here. It's been a good conversation. Hey, I was going to point out too, you guys were talking about high school. I never went to high school.
Really?
Never went.
Or just never went?
No,
really?
I got a GED out of the 8th grade, and then while everybody else was in high school, I was in community college, and my first courses were history of Western civilizations, humanities, philosophy of theologies. Like that's where I started.
So you leapfrogged 4 years ahead of everybody else, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult. How did you find that with kids of your own age? So when I was 11, my mum put me forward for lectures at Paddington University in Liverpool. So I did computer studies and problem solving at university in a lecture hall, and then in the week went back to a comprehensive school with a class of 30 kids all screaming, and it used to drive me insane because one environment is evidently designed for learning, and the other environment is just designed to contain a rabble, I think.
Yeah.
Well, for me,
babysit you while your parents are working. Yeah.
I was homeless by the time I was 13. My parents weren't interested in being parents, so I was kind of used to doing my own thing.
Sorry to hear
that. I didn't.
We had the outside and sticks.
Yeah.
We had sticks in the outside. No internet.
Yeah. For my 13th birthday, I slept under a bridge in 20-degree weather with the realization that if I died, there was no one around to care.
Yeah, Robert, how old are you?
Now I'm 51.
I'm 52.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I was actually homeless once, and that was horrific. It was a horrific experience, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It was just horrific. And a lot of people don't know this, but when you're homeless, one of the biggest problems that you're going to encounter is because you can't find a safe, warm place to sleep and recharge yourself, you're going to go through some massive sleep deprivation. And that's why you see so many homeless people appear to be mentally ill, because they're just afraid. Like you're not sleeping.
Frazzled,
it's
you
like
need a private place to sleep, and you can't find one when you're homeless, or unless you're really lucky.
Anxiety, always on anxiety mode, where it's like the defense or being on guard.
For me,
and it's so disgusting as well, because these anxiety related disorders are always based in childhood trauma. It's narcissistic abuse by the parents. These children are often the scapegoat in a family. A narcissistic parent will have made one child the golden child and the other child the scapegoat, and the scapegoat can do no right and the golden child can do no wrong.
This sounds extremely familiar to me.
The scapegoat, yes, and the scapegoat ends up being kicked out, you see. I mean, I'm the scapegoat in my family. I started a national charity in 2004. I've handed £140,000 giant cardboard check over to the NSPCC. We've raised over £500,000 for the Alder Hey Children's Hospital in Manchester. And my mum thinks I'm a dickhead. She get no recognition.
The thing for me is when everybody else is falling apart, when everybody else is, in crisis mode and trying to deal with their fight or flight, issues and all that, I'm cool, I am calm. If the world comes to an end, like everybody keeps worrying about, I'm not just going to survive. I'm going to be fat. I am a survivor. I have no issues whatsoever. I know how to get it done. And anybody around me, and that's the thing that I've everything that I've learned and everything that I've been through. The reason I do what I do is I've learned how to become a leader, in my community. I want to be able to help other people who, didn't go through the tribulations that I did and learn the strengths that I did, And that's really the truth of it. Yeah, I could sit and suck my thumb about all the horrible things that I went through and all of that, but it doesn't do anything. I learned a lot from it. I learned how to, to be stronger, how to do better, how to stay calm when everybody else is in crisis, how to step up and help others who can't meet the challenge. So I think that's my lot in life. That's who I am. So I just do that, and whatever tools I can use to help me along the way, that's what I do.
Yeah. Well, there's worse things that you could be doing with your life. So good for you.
True. Hey, by modern psychology, I'm supposed to be a serial killer.
Well,
we're glad you turned the other.
I know, right?
The story hasn't ended yet.
Yeah.
Well,
listen,
ultimately,
I was going to say we're going to wrap things up again.
Right.
I got a whole bunch of editing to do. We're going to be debuting a special video in the next day or so.
Nice.
So we want to thank all of our callers. I'll throw you out here one by one. Thanks, Reverend Rant. Don't be a stranger. Send me a message on pill.net and we'll have you come and be a guest.
Right.
We'll pick a topic.
Yeah,
right?
I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Reverend. Oh, sure.
If anybody wants some political high blood pressure, stop by my show as well. I do a lot of commentary. I don't do, we go through the news and stuff, but it's mostly commentary. And I break it down into common sense. And I pick on both sides. I mean, I get a little angry with the left because some of the things they're doing is hyperbolic, but I rag on the right as well, because all of them are screwing us over. So if you want to get in the mix, I read the chat.
Well, that I agree with. I always say they're all criminals. Just because you picked one side that you think is the lesser of the two criminals doesn't mean that you're, it means
the lesser of two evils is still evil.
Yeah,
they're both wings of the same bird, and that's the real truth. And when you study it, you see that it's true. That's not just a philosophy; it's literal truth. They're all. There's maybe a few people in our government who are actually, ideologues who actually believe in what they're doing. 99% of them are sold out puppets to the globalists, to the corporatists and all of that, rot. So
sure, absolutely.
We got to call it out.
Yeah. Well, you have a good night. We appreciate
everyone is.
Thank you very much. And then we have Thin Lizzy Board and Mr. Ian left. But first we have Zizix with a kind and generous $2 super chat. Community homeless are great. Yeah. Well, thank you, Zizix, for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we want to take a moment to thank and recognize all you Patreon supporters, channel subscribers, Pill.net Gold Pillars, PayPal donators, Twitch subscribers. Thank you guys for all the support. And of course, you super chatters.
You're watching Truthseekers. Praise cash, praise the cash.
He wants a raise too.
He knows his worth.
Yeah, and the fishing expert. He's the apple of my eye. I always say that. My favorite little guy, except for the other one. Yeah. Listen, we're gonna do a call-in show a little more frequently. This went okay. We only had one guy that was on drugs or drunk. And he wasn't like, remember when that guy fell over in that one show? So this guy wasn't bad at all compared to that metric. It went okay. And thanks for your participation.
It's all right. We are Team Truth on screen now. Lizzy, our events manager, me doing the media production. And
media production? What media?
voice of the God.
Yeah, so Mr. Ian, you can't message me. I can't message you on Facebook, so you have to message me on Discord.
Is this what's happened?
Yeah, I got banned.
Did you? So you've not had what I sent you?
No, I can't. No.
He was saying that in Discord that he.
I said it in Discord. I said, Ian, I can't. Mr. Ian, I can't communicate.
I was wondering if I should.
So the latest video that I've put up is in the shared folder. You haven't been able to see.
No.
Oh, you're kidding me. Called cows. Just called cows.
Moo.
Oh, no. That's one, and then I sent you that back edited. I did send you back that edited.
No.
But I can't send you a message to say my
cow part 2.
Yeah.
Cow part
edited
2. I've got it now.
Yeah. And that's just part of the.
How did you edit it? What did you do? While we're here and obviously talking.
We're gonna.
Perfect! Absolutely perfect. I see what you've done. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I just added a little razzle dazzle to it. That's all.
No, well, I used the old VHS filter on it and made it black and white, so it color toned the whole thing together. And what you've done is just perfect.
Took on what you did. I just riffed on what you did and made it a little better.
I had to tell you like that when I was growing up.
Okay. Well, listen, we got to wrap things up so I can finish editing this beast. It's going to be a fun video.
The audience are wondering now.
I'm not seeing what they're seeing, but it sounds interesting.
The Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows conspiracy. I'm telling you, Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows. And we've got whistleblowers. Wait till you hear what they have to say. It's all going in this video. It should debut tomorrow if YouTube will... go through it and say, okay. Sometimes they take forever to check it for the whatever. I don't know, copyright and everything else. But I'm going to try to get it finished tonight. I got another hour of edit, render, and then upload it, and I'll schedule it. Hope maybe, ideally, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. But it's only like a 20-minute video, but it's still worth a premiere. Because Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows. We have to get the word out.
I bet. Yeah.
Right, look, Steve, kick me out and finish the show with Bree. She can get her.
Throw us out.
All we have to do to let the woman talk here is throw all the men out. Every time you're here, did you hear that? I had to say, well, we have another perspective here. Why don't we let her talk? And then they still talked over you and didn't let you talk.
I'm Minnesotan, so it's more like you sit back and then you let people talk. But it's fun.
Do you got any guests booked? Aren't you supposed to be booking guests?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Here I'm gonna bust you now. You're here. I'm gonna bust your balls. I thought we were gonna do 2 a week and then load me up, but then I got kind of busy and I was kind of glad that didn't happen. But it's harder than you thought, isn't it? Harder than you thought it was going to be.
that's the thing where, getting our quality of guests.
What is our quality?
The truth seeker, like
or just good guests. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like,
yeah, we don't want
you don't want just
you don't want a bunch of woo-woo person
that's
that wants
the
to tell
thing.
stories for 2 hours. But,
Yeah,
I mean, that's fun sometimes.
Other channels might, entertain, other wider nets of things. So the guests are, it's a bigger pond to fish in. We'll put it in the fishing terms.
Sure, I give you that with the priests that are exorcists. And I hope that you can just figure out like their contact information.
Yeah, you got to get me those names.
I'll get you the name tonight. I'll get you a list of them tonight, because that is a big project that we could work on getting together and getting. I need those guys, or I have to just cut that idea from the greater project and just say we didn't get the interviews with any of them, so we don't need it. We'll work around it. And they've given a whole bunch of interviews. I can go grab clips of them saying certain things, or I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your help, though. We appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll talk to you in the Discord.
Okay. See you later.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. We finally let her talk. All we have to do is get rid of all the other men, and the woman is allowed to speak. I'm sorry about that, friends. I get messages sometimes like, why didn't they let the girl talk? It's just the way it is, I guess. And I apologize for that. I don't know how else to break in and, So we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. We have done our due diligence. I don't know if you know this, but I started building another cabin in the middle of the woods. And winter time is fast approaching. So, and I have a big family event. By the way, happy birthday to my mother-in-law, Jeanette, who's turning 80. And so we're having a huge family party for her on Sunday. So in order to get the cabin time in and work on some other projects, I'm going to be leaving tomorrow and back on Saturday night instead of leaving Friday, back on Sunday. So this will be the last show for the week, but we have some special surprises for you. We're going to do several premieres throughout the weekend. So follow me on Twitter. You can't follow me you can follow me on Facebook, but I can't post right now. It's at Stephen Cambion on Twitter. And I'll post links to those premieres. We want to thank all of our callers and panel members. I guess we started out with just the calls, but I felt bad with people waiting in the wings, and I didn't want to throw people off. So it turned into a panel show as well. You never know what could happen here. We try to go with our gut, though. Felt like that's what we should have done. It went fine. Everybody has been asking me to do panel shows or call-in shows. And we try to do what you guys want. So let me know in the comments. Do you want to see more call-in shows or more panel shows or more hybrids of both? Let me know what you think in the comments or in the live chat. So we've done our due diligence both for today and, like I said, for the week, but I'll have some extra videos for you. I want to thank all of the people who called in. Interesting night of conversation. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.